Coming up, we have the latest on several fires burning in western KELOLAND.
Plus, volunteer firefighters share the significant role they play in communities statewide. Good morning, this is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
Crews working the Schroeder fire near Rapid City have the fire 47% contained. Several agencies joined that fight on Tuesday, including 2 helicopters from the South Dakota National Guard.
Hundreds of people were evacuated from their homes. Fire officials want to remind everyone to take precautions during this weather.
It's super important for people to be cognizant of any kind of ignition source in this dry grass and dry conditions out here. So even all across the state, it's dry.
Authorities are hoping to lift some of the evacuations and start getting people into their homes this morning. You'll likely think of images like these when Mount Rushmore is mentioned, but these images are what you currently see on the terrain near the sculpture.
These were the scenes on Tuesday. It's the 244 fire. Highway 244 goes to the famous sculpture.
This fire was reported about 10:30 in the morning on Monday. It was primarily driven by the winds and the low humidity that was experienced across the region, which led to a number of fires in the area.
As of Tuesday night, the fire had reached 123 acres. 50% of it was contained. Mount Rushmore has announced that it will remain closed today.
We are also monitoring other fires out west, keeping crews busy. The Perkins County Sheriff's Department says the Divide fire flared up again and crossed Highway 20. Officials say the fire is 80% contained and is estimated at 7,000 to 8,000 acres. Roads in the area have been reopened.
Meanwhile, the Dry Creek fire in Jones County is 100% contained. The fire burned more than 9,900 acres. 5 structures were also burned in the fire. The cause is under investigation.
Our team coverage of the fires continues today. Stay with KELOLAND News on air and online as we bring you the latest information. Now let's send it over to meteorologist Scott Munt for a check of our weather.
Well, it looks like we will stay cool today. And guess what? Those winds will be back from the west and northwest. They'll come in around 15 to 30 miles per hour with the occasional higher gust. Now, when we do change that wind direction for some of us tonight, that will help bring in some warmer weather as it'll start to favor a southerly direction later tonight. And then for tomorrow, it looks like we'll start a warming trend. And I think that will last straight through this weekend as temperatures hit the 70s and 80s. Brian Karstens will have more details on your forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. A 23-year-old Sioux Falls man is behind bars this morning after a pursuit in western Sioux Falls. Shortly after 1 a.m., a highway patrol trooper tried to stop a pickup at the intersection of 12th and Marion, but the vehicle would not stop. Highway patrol pursued the vehicle, but ended the pursuit near Lakeside Drive.
Minutes later, Sioux Falls police stopped the pickup near the intersection of Ellis Road and Sand Street. The vehicle was later found to be stolen. Charges are pending against the driver. Firefighters in Sioux Falls were kept busy Tuesday night with a fire in the western part of the city. Shortly before 7, Sioux Falls Fire Rescue was called to an apartment building in the 4200 block of Southwest Avenue for reports of a fire. Crews first on scene found smoke coming from the rear of the building.
When firefighters entered the building, they found smoke and fire in one unit. No one was hurt. 8 residents were displaced because of the fire. The American Red Cross is helping those residents. The cause of the fire is under investigation. We now know the name of the man who died after a one-vehicle crash northwest of Clark. Shortly before midnight Friday, a car was heading west on 171st Avenue when the driver lost control of the vehicle. The car went into the ditch and rolled.
The driver, 20-year-old Jordan Hammond, was thrown from the vehicle. He was pronounced dead at the scene. South Dakota's Highway Patrol is investigating the crash. More than 96% of registered fire departments in South Dakota are all or mostly volunteer, according to the U.S. Fire Administration.
The fire chief of the Split Rock Fire Department says his department responded to about 118 calls last year.
Living in Sioux Falls, there's an on-call, somebody sitting at the station ready to go. Outside of city limits, we don't have that luxury. Our tax base doesn't fund us enough to have 24-hour people staffed on trucks. So when an emergency happens in your home or on the road, there needs to be a handful of people available to come assist you with your issues.
Agee says his department currently has enough volunteers, but he says there are some communities that do struggle to recruit volunteers at times. Governor Kristi Noem issued 2 executive orders this week concerning transgender students taking part in sports in South Dakota. The executive orders direct the State Department of Education and the Board of Regents to enforce rules allowing only females based on their biological sex at birth to participate in girls' and women's sports.
USD political science professor Michael Card says he doesn't think the governor can tell the Board of Regents what to do.
And they are created by the Constitution, subject to limitations placed on them by the legislature. So it's not clear that the governor has a great amount of authority over the South Dakota Board of Regents.
Card says executive orders are more powerful when they're issued during an emergency, but he doubts the current situation warrants that kind of declaration. And that's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
Okay, weather headlines here as we look at the forecast. Fire weather watch tomorrow. That's the newest thing here to talk about. Due to 10 to 15% relative humidity in the peak heating of the afternoon. Wind gusts will probably run between 25, maybe 30 or 35 in the afternoon. And then forecast high temperatures between 60 and 70. Much of this area highlighted in the red and the orange. So we're going to watch that. We've got a humidity forecast for you. Today, we're cool enough that some of this fire weather is at least a little bit minimized, but it's still plenty dry. I mean, obviously, looking at the relative humidity readings between 15 and 30%. Western South Dakota. We have a dominant northwest wind still in the forecast today, but look at tomorrow. South winds come back. And the humidity is even lower in some cases in western KELOLAND on Thursday. So that's why that fire weather watch is in effect. Sioux Falls will generally have a little higher humidity versus Rapid City. But Friday, look at that. Rapid could go down easily, 10 to 15% humidity again in the afternoon. So all that does is it dries out these fuels and these source points for potential problems. And we just want to keep that on your mind as you're perhaps enjoying the nice outdoor weather. Many of us will be doing that, obviously, with the Easter weekend. All right, temperatures, forecast wind now, too, by the way. The wind this afternoon running every bit of 15 to 30 in the Sioux Falls area. Probably a few higher gusts out toward Chamberlain, down to Yankton. Overnight winds will calm down, and then they'll switch around to the south tomorrow and be again in that same 15 to 30 mile an hour range for many. Here's the forecast today. 47 our high temperature in Pierre, 50 Rapid City as wind forecast there at 20 to 30. Tonight, low 27 Rapid, Sioux Falls 20, Aberdeen 23, and the forecast on the 7-day warming to 67 on Good Friday, 76 degrees on Saturday, and 80 on Easter. We'll keep it close to 80 on Monday and even 70s through Tuesday. So a really mild stretch of weather. Overnight lows are going to come back up. And notice the lack of moisture. We can't really even talk about it. Maybe Tuesday, but that's still day 7 on that forecast. So, yeah, it's certainly not going to get any better on the fire weather concerns. And it looks like Pierre also close to 80 on Easter. And likewise, Rapid City and the Black Hills. Very warm, very dry. Keep a close eye on it. Check out details online right here at KELOLAND.com and have a great day.